Hi and welcome to Foundations 30 with Miss Verity. Today we're going to be looking at 2.4 buy, rent, or lease. So I want you to look at the following scenarios below and think about why you might buy or rent in this scenario. A lot of time buying or renting, what you choose to do depends on the initial cost. Something like a pencil is like 5 cents. You're probably not going to rent that because you're going to end up paying way more. So initial cost or the cost of upkeep as well are usually the two factors. Because when you are renting, if something breaks, then your landlord is responsible for it. Okay, so we've got 3 scenarios. We've got Amanda's a civil engineer. She needs a vehicle for work, on average 12 days a month. She's renting a vehicle. The advantage of renting is she fills up the tank and drops it off when she's done. The disadvantage is that she has to spend time arranging for the rental, picking up the rental, getting home after she drops it off. And she's wondering if that is the most economical choice. So 3 scenarios. She could lease the vehicle. She requires a down payment of $4,000, lease payments of $380 plus tax. She would need insurance, and would average $50 a month in repairs. She would have no equity at the end of the 4-year lease, though. She could buy a vehicle for $32,800, finance it for 4 years at 4.5% interest, compounded monthly. She'd have the same insurance, repair, and maintenance costs, and however, she would have the vehicle as an asset after, meaning that the vehicle is still worth some money to her. Or she can continue to rent for $49.99 per day plus tax with unlimited kilometers. So I think the best, or maybe the easiest place to start would be looking at renting. So she could rent for $49.99 plus tax. So if we figure out our plus tax, we can multiply by 1.11. You could also multiply by 0.11. That would be your tax, and then add it to the original cost. That's the exact same thing. And that would be $55.49. Well, this is her cost per day. She does about 12 days a month. There is 12 months in a year, and she's doing that for 4 years. So times 12 times 12 times 4. So if she continues to do that, then she in total is paying $31,961.61. So that's what it would cost her over the 4 years if she chose to rent the car. The next scenario, let's look at buying the car. So she's going to buy the vehicle for $32,800. She's going to finance it for 4 years. And she would make monthly payments. Our interest is compounded monthly. This also needs to be multiplied by our payments. The interest rate is 4.5, and she's going to pay off the car in 4 years. So we want to figure out what her payments would be. So 4 times 12, 4.5, negative 3,2,800. We're looking for payments, future value 0, 12, and 12. So if we solve for our payments, we get monthly payments of this beautiful number of 747.95. So that is what her monthly payments are. But on top of her monthly payments, she is also going to pay, so she's got her monthly payment, which is made up of her 747.95, plus she would average $50 per month in maintenance, plus she would average, we have insurance. So if we figure out our insurance, that is going to be $1,220 per month. So if we divide that by 12, we can figure out how much it costs her a month. divided by 12, we get 101.67. So her monthly payment is the cost of her car, the repairs, and 101.67. So we can figure out, so she's going to pay in total to buy the car, 747, nope, I'm going to figure out what that number is equal to first. Okay, so 747.95 plus 50 plus 101.67. So in total, she is going to pay $899.62 per month. So $899.62 per month. So 12 months for a year and doing it for 4 years. So times 12 times 4. In total for her vehicle, she would pay $43,181.76 for her car. And option 2 was leasing the car. So she would pay a down payment of $4,000. And then after that, she would have lease payments of $380 a month plus tax. So $380 plus tax, or times our tax to get our total. So 380 times 1.11 is $421.80. So these are her monthly payments. She would pay her insurance, so $421.80 plus our 101.67 plus the monthly costs. So plus 101.67 plus 50. In total, her monthly costs are $573.47. So she would pay this per month for 4 years. And that totals $27,526.56, plus she paid her $4,000 deposit on it. So in total, she's paying $31,526.56. So there's our 3 amounts. So looking at it, there's our third amount. Between these 3, well, obviously she probably should not buy the car at this point. I know some of you are saying, why would you buy a car that expensive? Kyle, Jaden, others. She wants a brand new one. So there's our options. For her, the cheapest is to lease the car. And she would have it for more than just 12 days a month. Okay, let's look at Calvin, a mechanic, works 6 months contracts in northern communities. He has 2 housing options for his next contract near Yellowknife. He can rent a room with a kitchenette at a hotel for $80 per day, which includes cleaning services, woohoo, and utilities. Or he can take up a 6-month lease of a furnished apartment for $1,100 per month. This requires the first and last month's rent up front, along with a damage deposit of $2,000. As well, Calvin would need to pay utilities of about $150 per month. So first option, he could do $80 per day. We're saying there's 30 days in a month. So $80 per day, there's 30 days. He is doing that for 6 months. So $80 per day times 30 times 6 months is he would pay $14,400. He can also take out a 6-month lease on a furnished apartment for $1,100 per month. This requires the first and last month's rent. So first of all, he's going to pay so he's paying first and last month's rent up front. So he's paying $2,200 right up front. Has to have that money ready. Other than that, he is then going to pay that $1,100 times the other 4 months. So for those other 4 months, that is $4,400. So in total, his rent is $6,600. Plus, he has his damage deposit of $2,000. and he's going to pay $150 per month. So that's another $900. So he's got a $6,600 plus $2,000 plus $900. So in total, he is paying $9,500 for his accommodations. So, I mean, obviously he's paying about $5,000 difference, and that's a pretty big chunk of money for 6 months. The rough part though is when you're renting, you need things like first and last month's rent and a damage deposit. So right up front, before he does anything, he needs to have like $4,200 ready to go. He may not have $4,200 ready to go, so he might not be able to afford right off the bat to have that 6-month lease, whereas he could afford the $80 per day per month right off the bat. But if he had that money ready, we would probably recommend that he does the 6-month lease. We're just going to talk about appreciation and depreciation. So appreciation is something where your asset increases over time. So a lot of times houses, those are an asset that increases over time. Depreciation is where an asset, the value decreases. That's something like a car. Cars, if you buy a brand new one, depreciate the moment you drive them off the lot. They are worth considerably less over that amount of time. So here's a note. If a car depreciates 40%, that means the value is 60% of what it was for. So our first example, they paid for a $32,000 car. Well, automatically in the next year, it is only worth 0.6 of that. So automatically, if she was, or a person from the first example was to sell their car the next year, her car now is only worth $19,200, even though she bought it a year ago for $32,000. This is just another example. Similarly, like working through, you look at the scenario, it's very similar to the